The Bridges of Madison County.
Starring the Meryl Streep of Broadway, Kelli O'Hara.
Because she's so f***ing good, and she gets nominated for things, and then doesn't win them. Because other people win them. But it's fine, because she's insanely good.
I mean, she's so good in everything.
Yeah, and also because, like, I haven't seen the movie or read the book, so, but I, like, literally 5 minutes before the show started was like, wait, what? She's Italian? I'm confused. Kelli O'Hara's playing Italian? Huh? But, like, she does it. I was on board with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her voice is just...
I would support non-traditional casting of Kelli O'Hara in anything.
Anything.
And traditional casting.
Why hasn't she done, like, an opera? Like, a legit opera?
I don't know.
Because her voice is made for that, obviously. Like, I'm kind of surprised that she hasn't done a legit opera, like a full one. Please do that. I'll go see it. I want to say, like, I don't know what the show would be without her, but I don't think it's, like, that bad. It's not like, oh god, I don't know what, you know, it's not like Carolee Carmelo's Scandalous.
No.
You know,
she's
like,
not
the show
carrying the show.
Right, no, she's certainly not carrying the show. So much, like, energy and thought is focused on her because she's giving such an incredible performance that you sort of, like, forget about the other things that are happening. And there are certainly things that I'm, like, a little critical of that I'm, like, just forgiving because I don't care because Kelli O'Hara sings. Like the set.
Yeah, the set's not great. One thing that I thought was interesting, I don't know how it succeeded in my eyes, but in order to sort of justify the ensemble, they sort of made the town an omnipresent character. Which I got what they were doing. I don't know if it was necessary to the story, but I understood what they were doing. And I thought actually the way they did it was successful. When they were moving in set pieces, they would have people linger and sort of look in the screen door. And especially with Cass Morgan's character. I think she's either not in the book or it's not a very fleshed out character based on what I've read about the show and the book differences. But I liked the sweet friendship that was between, especially at the end.
Yeah.
And I thought the whole town, in a way that is not usually shown when talking about small towns, it's usually a lot of judgment and, like, there was a little bit of that in the looks and things, but in the end, if they all knew what was going on, they recognized that it was something that this woman felt she needed to do, or at the very least, it wasn't their deal to...
I certainly didn't feel like anyone else in the town was meant to know what was going on besides Cass Morgan's character, but I did feel like when she brought her dinner, when they were coming back, that she was like... they didn't even have to talk about it. She knew everything, and she was not judging, and she was like, if I was in your place, girl, I would have done it too. Yeah. Like, she was so supportive, and, like, especially at the end when they, like, fast forward through time, and she's, like, going back to her house, and she was like, leave my line on, I'm always here for you, girl. I got your back.
Well, and Kelli O'Hara said... you know, thank you for always being there for me. Knowing that you were there for me, whatever, was, like, very important to me. Yeah. In most situations where there's an affair, everyone sort of jumps to blame the woman. Right. And I feel like, especially other women. In reality, I'm not sure, but certainly in fiction. And I really liked that dynamic. Yeah, I thought it's something that you don't see, and it's so small. It didn't hinder the story or take the place of the story, but it added an impact that was nice.
It was a significant female friendship in entertainment, which, like, doesn't exist. I really, really loved the dynamic between Michael X. Martin's character and Cass Morgan's character.
It was fantastic.
They were awesome. It was, like, it was one of those things, like, they had a scene where it was literally, like, a completely unnecessary scene to the storyline, but it was such a great scene. It was so well written. The characters were so well defined in their relationship to each other that it was like, I literally at the end of it, I was like, I love that scene. I don't know why it's in the show, besides the fact that it fleshes out their characters and we like those characters.
Well, I think it served, I don't know if this was their intention, but I think it served as a really good contrast. Just a third relationship, because you have Francesca and Robert, who are in this like lustful, passionate beginning of a relationship, and then you have Francesca and Bud, which was a marriage of convenience of sorts, and then you have Cass Morgan and Michael X. Martin, who are an old married couple, essentially, but the kind of married couple that can have conversations like that.
Yeah.
And realize that we're always wanting something else, even if you don't act on that, and even if it's not a strong wanting. There's nothing wrong with being like, that's a pretty lady, or like that if I were 20 years younger and didn't care about fidelity.
Yeah.
That's like humanity, that people have those thoughts, and like the honesty between the two of them, I think, was a representation of what Bud and Francesca just never had.
You know who we haven't talked about yet? Stephen Pasquale.
Oh my god.
He's incredible.
Yeah. I'm like super into it. I mean, I've been super into him since Rescue Me. He was fantastic on that show. Nodding, smiling.
Understanding. I didn't know he was on that show.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah. He played this.
Why are you doing all Broadway musicals all the time? He should never be in a non-singing role.
I am someone who has a hard time enjoying anything where someone is cheating.
Yeah, I know.
I still sort of...
Yeah, how did you enjoy this show at all? Your crazy was like at 0.
It was a little bit. I think because I think I did know the outcome of the story, so I
if she had gone with him at the end, you would have hated it. You would have been like, "How dare she? She's the cheater."
Well, maybe because I would have thought you should have just left before you cheated. That is always my reaction.
Crazy. I'm so glad that like insanity that happens inside your brain didn't affect your enjoyment of the show.
I will say I understand the difference between just having sex with someone and versus having like an emotional affair that is also physical. And I do feel like it was a little bit of that, but it was 4 days. I don't care. I don't care what they say. I still am under the impression that they did not fall in love. I do think that they felt something, and that it maybe could have turned into something if she had gone with him. But when he says he loves her after 4 days, I don't think that that's true. I think that it awakened the possibility of love for him, and finally made him realize, I've been running from something, but because I didn't think I was capable of it, but I am.
Right. I agree with that.
And I don't think that means that they wouldn't have worked it out if she had gone with him.
Right, but I don't think I completely agree with all of that. And I think that when they verbalize, I'm in love with you, that is what they're feeling right then. Not that it's like a more real, more true, more lasting love as like the love between Cass Morgan and Michael. Like it's a completely different kind of love. And I certainly believe that both of those characters in that moment saying, I'm in love with you, I love you, I want to go with you, they sure as shit believe that when they're saying it.
Well, I don't necessarily disagree with that. I certainly don't think he was like just saying that to, I don't know, with her or her. That's not necessarily what I mean. I don't know, I guess I don't think in reality, this isn't a realistic situation. In reality, that wouldn't necessarily happen.
Well, I think that love cannot be defined. And there are so many types of love. And I certainly do believe that in that situation, like, when they are saying they love each other, that they do love each other. In a certain type of love, it's not, it's a different type of love than, like, Francesca has for Bud. It's a different type of love that Cass, you know, it's like when we were talking about the different types of relationships or whatever. It's different types of love. And I'm not like a person that's like, oh, love at first sight or whatever.
I understand that too, because you kind of, if you like the show, you have a blind spot towards that. Because if you don't like the show, then you're like, they're not, it's only been 2 days. But like in Leap of Faith, it was 3 days. I mean, and I'm not saying, I think that that's...
But I think actually interesting that you bring up Leap of Faith, because I think that at the end of Leap of Faith, when Raoul's character is like, I'm not going to run anymore, I'm going to stay here and I'm going to try this. I don't remember in the text if he says something like, I love you. I don't think he did. I don't think either of them say anything like that. I think he's just like, I'm going to try this.
Well, yeah.
And I think that's sort of like the same type of thing that's happening at the end of this show, where she's like, I want to try something different. What I have right now isn't what I want anymore, and maybe I can try that. And he's doing the exact same thing. And whether, the verbalization of the words I love you is like, makes it easier for people to become skeptical. But I think it's basically the same situation. It's one person being like, what I've been doing up until now isn't working or hasn't been working, and I'm going to try something new. And part of that trying something new is going to be trying a relationship with that person.
Yeah.
Leap of Faith.
I mean, there were a lot of great character songs too, and interesting choices about who was singing the song while a scene was happening. Like there was that really interesting scene where his ex-girlfriend, Robert's ex-girlfriend, was singing the song, and it was while Kelli O'Hara and Stephen Pasquale were getting to know each other.
Right.
And she was talking about how he had been emotionally unavailable and he had this other life that she wasn't a part of, and then that was happening. It was an interesting juxtaposition.
Yeah, I really like that. That's also why I liked how the scene changes, what you were talking about before, how the characters are always sort of there, because I felt like it really colored this feeling of like, even when they think they're alone and it's just the two of them in her kitchen, they're never really alone.
Right.
With the community and with his baggage and her baggage.
Yeah. Everybody's got baggage.
Everybody's got baggage. And Kelli O'Hara's got a great voice. I just can't stand it. I can't wait for this cast recording.
Oh,
I listen
yeah.
to it all the time.
Yeah.
Do an opera.
Into you and I have just 1 second and 1,000,000 miles to go.
Well, obviously we're going to cast Kelli O'Hara. Now, how are we going to spin this?
Which I'm like okay with. Because Kelli O'Hara is f***ing insanity.